All right, welcome everyone. Today we've got a truly fascinating explainer lined up for you. We're going to break down the highly specific, incredibly practical, and honestly pretty unexpected money secrets of spiritual guru Vasant Vijayananda Giriji Maharaj. Now, if you think you know what a traditional ascetic believes about material wealth, well, prepare to have those assumptions completely flipped upside down. We're going to decode the exact architecture of prosperity according to his teachings. And we're going all the way from household dynamics to the literal physical energy of a currency note. So let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. He says if you only hold the ascetic staff without funds, it leads to arrogance. I mean, wow, that completely shatters our expectations, right? We usually picture a traditional guru as someone who totally shuns material wealth in favor of, absolute spiritual purity. But here, the speaker is straight up saying that spirituality without some kind of financial grounding is actually a trap. It's a massive, bold claim, and it really sets the stage for his entire philosophy.
To really get this, we've got to look at the balance he's proposing. Think of the dand, that's the spiritual staff. It represents religious duty, asceticism, holding the moral high ground. But then you contrast that with the fund, pure material wealth. The speaker's core philosophy here is that these two forces absolutely have to coexist, because if you only focus on the spiritual staff, well, you risk developing this sort of empty arrogance. You actually need the fund to sustain any real-world impact, to support yourself, and to do your duties without becoming a burden on everybody else.
So that brings us to our first major theme, the coexistence of wealth and duty. Next up, we're looking at the household foundation. Now, what's really intriguing here is how the guru shifts the focus away from just individual wealth and points it directly at family harmony. He brings up the Ardhanarishwar ideal. That's an ancient concept of a perfectly balanced, intertwined half-male, half-female deity, and this brilliantly illustrates his take on the household. The speaker takes a highly traditional stance on gender roles and marriage here. He advocates for a really strict division of duties. Basically, one partner goes out to earn the money while the other takes absolute command of managing the home. In his view, this mutual dependence is what creates a true, functioning family. Looking at the source material, it's very clear he believes that when both partners are out chasing external wealth, the internal foundation of the home just begins to crumble. To really ground this philosophy in an emotional, everyday reality, the guru shares this incredibly poignant anecdote from the comic poet Surender Sharma. It goes, "Pride is not a son making millions in America, but a son making thousands locally so we can eat dinner together." That just hits right at the heart of the speaker's message, doesn't it? He's telling his audience that pure cash value is pretty much meaningless if it physically disconnects the family. Real lasting wealth is found in proximity, connection, and just sharing those everyday experiences. He actually uses a really specific, super relatable metaphor to drive this home. He contrasts the reality of a disconnected, dual-income home, coming home late, eating cold food out of plastic containers from the fridge, with his symbol of true prosperity. And for him, that's a harmonious, traditional family setup, sharing fresh, hot meals together. In his eyes, that freshly cooked meal, that becomes the ultimate metric of a well-functioning, truly wealthy household. All right, brace yourselves because we are making a major pivot now into the physics of wealth. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we make a major shift from emotional dynamics into the literal physical properties of money. The guru actually uses scientific terminology to explain spiritual concepts. He brings up the quark, the fundamental particle in physics. He uses this idea to explain that absolutely everything in the universe, every physical object, is vibrating and continuously emitting energy. And yes, that includes the very paper of a currency note. He wants us to view money not just as dead paper, but as a living, breathing energy force. And here's the specific physical mechanism he describes. He claims that energy continuously flows out and literally escapes from the four open, cut edges of a currency note. Kind of like how energy radiates from the core of the human body, the guru says that this wealth energy bleeds out from the sharp, cut borders of paper money. This is a massive warning in his teachings. If you hold or hand over money incorrectly, you are literally letting this energy leak right away from you. So how do we stop it? Let's get into retaining your wealth. Because the guru doesn't just warn you about leaking energy, he gives you highly guarded, incredibly specific hacks for protecting your financial energy during everyday transactions. Let's walk through this physical money folding technique step by step. Step 1, when you're about to hand over a note, you've got to fold it in half. Step 2, ensure that the open, cut edges, remember that's where the energy escapes, are pointing inwards, facing towards you. And step 3, You hand the smooth, folded, closed side to the receiver. According to the guru, this specific physical action creates a barrier. It traps the energetic flow so that the wealth energy stays with you, the giver, even as the physical paper leaves your hand. But the physical fold? That's only half the secret. There is a final, absolutely vital component to this transaction: the number 78. Just take a second to let that number sink in. 78. The speaker claims that wealth energy has a specific frequency, a main board number, as he calls it, that basically acts as a magnet for prosperity. And that numerical frequency is exactly 78. So the crucial point is exactly how you use this number. Whenever you're handing over a payment, and this could be a small coffee purchase or a massive real estate transaction, it doesn't matter, you must silently, mentally chant the number 78. You don't say it out loud, obviously, lest people think you're casting a spell on them, but you hold it firmly in your mind. This serves as the final internal step in his prosperity technique. It's totally designed to ensure that whatever money leaves your hand is going to return to you multiplied. Which brings us to the end of our explainer and leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. Next time you hand over money, will you remember 78? Will you fold it towards yourself? Look, whether you view this as deep spiritual physics or just a really fascinating psychological trick to make you more mindful of your spending, it's an incredibly unique perspective on how we interact with everyday prosperity. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, and keep seeking out this fascinating connections.